Hello everyone, today we are going to start class 8th science and the chapter number 2, which is microorganism, friend and foe. It's just kind of a audio book and explanation will be given in the later videos. So I request you to please like, subscribe and share the channel. Thank you. So let's begin with our NCERT. You have seen several kinds of plants and animals. However, there are other living organisms around us which we normally cannot see. These are called microorganisms or microbes. For example, you might have observed that during the rainy day, moist bread gets spoiled and its surface gets covered with grayish white patches. Observe these patches through the magnifying glass. You will see tiny black rounded structures. Do you know what these structures are and where do these come from? Microorganisms. We have some activities to do which I don't think that it's important to read. Then let's go start from here. These observations show that water and soil are full of tiny organisms, though not all of them fall into the category of microbes. These microorganisms or microbes are so small in size that they cannot be seen with the unaided eye. Some of these, such as fungus that grows on bread, can be seen with a magnifying glass. Others cannot be seen without the help of microscope. That is why these are called microorganisms or microbes. Microorganisms are classified into 4 major groups. These groups are bacteria, fungi, protozoa and some algae. Some of these common microorganisms are shown in figure 2.1 and 2.41. Viruses are also microscopic but are different from other microorganisms. They, however, reproduce only inside the cell of the host, which may be a bacterium, plant, or animal. Some of the viruses are shown in figure 2.5. Common ailments like cold, influenza, and most coughs are caused by viruses. Serious diseases like polio and chickenpox are also caused by viruses. Diseases like dysentery, malaria are caused by protozoa or protozoans, whereas typhoid and tuberculosis are bacterial diseases. You have learnt about some of these microorganisms in classes 6th and 7th. Bacteria, algae, Saprogyra, Calamidomonas, protozoa, amoeba and paramecium. Fungi, Penicillium, Aspergillus, bread mold. Where do microorganisms live? Microorganisms may be a single-celled like bacteria, some algae and protozoa, or multicellular such as many algae and fungi. They live in all types of environment ranging from ice cold climate to hot springs and deserts to marshy lands. They are also found inside the bodies of animals including humans. Some microorganisms grow on other organisms while others exist freely. Microorganisms around us play an important role in our lives. Some of them are beneficial in many ways, whereas some others are harmful and cause diseases. Let us study about them in detail. Friendly microorganisms. Microorganisms are used for various purposes. These are used in preparation of curd, bread and cake. Microorganisms have been used for the production of alcohol since ages. They are also used in cleaning up the environment. For example, the organic waste, vegetable peels, remains of animals, feces, etc. are broken down into harmless and usable substances by bacteria. Recall that bacteria are also used in the preparation of medicine. In agriculture, they are used to increase soil fertility by fixing nitrogen. Making of curd and bread. You have learned in class 7 that milk is turned into curd by bacteria. Curd contains several microorganisms. One of these, the bacterium Lactobacillus, promotes the formation of the curd. It multiplies in milk and it converts into curd. Bacteria are also involved in making of cheese, pickles, and many other food items. An important ingredient of rava, idlis, or bhaturas is curd. Can you guess why? Bacteria and yeast are also helpful for fermentation of rice idlis and dosa batter. Yeast reproduces rapidly and produces carbon dioxide during respiration. Bubbles of the gas filled in the dough increases its volume. This is the basis of the use of yeast in the baking industry for making breads, pastries, and cakes. Commercial use of microorganisms. Microorganisms are used for large-scale production of alcohol, wine, acetic acid, which is also known as vinegar. Yeast is used for commercial production of alcohol and wine. For this purpose, yeast is grown on natural sugars present in grains like barley, wheat, rice, and crushed fruit juices, etc. The smell. This is the smell of the sugar as smell. This is the smell of alcohol as sugar has been converted into alcohol by yeast. This process of conversion of sugar into the alcohol is known as fermentation. Louis Pasteur discovered fermentation in 1857. Whenever medicinal use of microorganisms. Whenever you fall ill, the doctor may give you some antibiotic tablets, capsules, or injections such as of penicillin. The source of these medicines is microorganisms. These medicines kill or stop the growth of the disease-causing microorganisms. Such medicines are called antibiotics. These days, a number of antibiotics are being produced from bacteria and fungi. Streptomycin, tetracycline, erythromycin are some of the commonly known antibiotics which are made from fungi and bacteria. The antibiotics are manufactured by growing specific microorganisms and are used to cure a variety of diseases. Antibiotics are even mixed with the feed of livestock and poultry to check microbial infection in animals. They are also used to control many plant diseases. It is important to remember that antibiotics should be taken only on the advice of a qualified doctor. Also, you must complete the course prescribed by the doctor. If you take antibiotics when not needed or in wrong doses, it may make the drug less effective when you might need it in future. Also, antibiotics taken unnecessarily may kill the beneficial bacteria in the body. Antibiotics, however, are not effective against cold and flu as these are caused by viruses. Vaccine. When disease-carrying microbe enters our body, the body produces antibodies to fight the invader. The body also remembers how to fight the microbe if it enters again. If dead or weakened microbes are introduced into a healthy body, the body fights and kills the invading bacteria by producing suitable antibodies. The antibodies remain in the body and we are protected from the disease-causing microbes forever. This is how vaccine works. Several diseases including cholera, tuberculosis, smallpox, hepatitis can be prevented by vaccination. In your childhood, you must have been given injection to protect yourself against several diseases. Can you prepare a list of these diseases? You may take help from your parents. It is essential to protect all children against these diseases. Necessary vaccines are available in nearby hospitals. You might have seen the advertisement on TV, newspapers regarding protection of children against polio under the Pulse Polio program. Polio drops given to children are actually a vaccine. A worldwide campaign against smallpox has finally led to its eradication from most parts of the world. These days, vaccines are made on a large scale from microorganisms to protect humans and other animals from several diseases, increasing soil fertility. Some bacteria are able to fix nitrogen from the atmosphere to enrich soil with nitrogen and increase its fertility. These microbes are commonly called biological nitrogen fixers. Changing the environment. The nitrogen fixing cyanobacteria. Cleaning the environment. Bojo and Paheli had observed the school gardener making manure. Along with their friends, they collected waste of plants, vegetables, fruits from nearby houses and gardens. They put them in a pit meant for the waste disposal. After some time, it decomposed and got converted to manure. Bojo and Paheli wanted to know how this had happened. Do you find any difference in the contents of the two pots? If so, there's an activity given, so you have to read an activity, which is not important for us. Okay, I'm going to read from here. You often see large amount of dead organic matter in the form of decaying plants, sometimes dead animals on the ground. You find that they disappear after some time. This is because the microorganisms decompose dead organic waste of plants and animals, converting them into simple substances. These substances are again used by other plants and animals, and thus microorganisms can be used to degrade the harmful and smelly substances and therefore clean up the environment. Harmful microorganisms. Microorganisms are harmful in many ways. Some of the microorganisms cause diseases in human beings, plants and animals. Such disease-causing microorganisms are called pathogens. Some of the microorganisms spoil food, clothing and leather. Let us study more about the harmful activities. Disease-causing microorganisms. Pathogens enter our body through the air we breathe, the water we drink, the food we eat. They can also get transmitted by direct contact with an infected person or carried by an animal. Microbial diseases that can spread from an infected person to a healthy person through air, water, food or physical contact are called communicable diseases. Example: cholera, common cold, chickenpox and tuberculosis. When a person suffering from common cold sneezes, fine droplets of the moisture carrying thousands of viruses are spread. The virus may enter the body of a healthy person while breathing and cause infection. There are some insects and animals which act as carriers of the diseases causing microbes. Housefly is one of such carriers. The flies sit on the garbage and animal excreta. Pathogens stick to their bodies. When these flies sit on the uncovered food, they may transfer the pathogens. Whoever eats a contaminated food is likely to get sick. So it is advisable to always keep food covered. Avoid consuming uncovered items of food. Another example of a carrier is female Anopheles mosquito, which carries the parasite of malaria, which is Plasmodium. Female Andes mosquito acts as a carrier of dengue virus. How can we control the spread of malaria or dengue? It's a question which has been asked in NCERT. All the mosquitoes breed in water, hence one should not let water collect anywhere in the coolers, tires, flower pot, etc. By keeping the surrounding clean and dry, we can prevent mosquitoes from breeding and try to make a list of the measures which help us to avoid the spread of malaria. Then it's a table been given: human disease, then the microorganism which is causing, mode of transmission and preventive measures. So let's start. Tuberculosis is caused by bacteria, transmission air. Then measles is caused by virus, transmission mode is air. Chickenpox is caused by virus, air. Polio is caused by virus. So tuberculosis by bacteria. What we can do: keep the patient in complete isolation. Keep the personal belongings of the patients away from those of the others. Vaccination to be given at a suitable stage. Then we have cholera, typhoid, which has been caused by bacteria, and they are transferred by water or food. The preventive measures are: maintain personal good hygiene, good sanitary habits, consume properly cooked food and boiled drinking water. Vaccination. Hepatitis A. This is by virus, and its mode of transmission is water. Boiled drinking water, and vaccination. This is a preventive measure. And then we have malaria. It is caused by protozoa. Mode of transmission is mosquito. So we can use mosquito net and repellents, spray insecticides, and control the breeding of mosquitoes. So cholera and typhoid is caused by bacteria. Tuberculosis is also caused by bacteria. Chickenpox, measles, and polio is by virus. Hepatitis is by virus. Malaria is by protozoa. Some of the common diseases affecting humans and their mode of transmission and few general methods of prevention are shown in the table. You can check out the table. Then yes, disease causing microorganisms in animals. Several microorganisms not only cause diseases in humans but also in other animals. For example, anthrax is dangerous to human and cattle disease and caused by a bacterium. Foot and mouth disease of cattle is caused by virus. Robert Koch discovered bacterium which causes anthrax disease. Disease causing microorganisms in plants. Several microorganisms cause disease in plants like wheat, rice, potato, sugarcane, orange, apple, and others. The diseases reduce the yield of crops for such plants. They can be controlled by use of certain chemicals which can kill the microbes. So there is plant diseases, microorganism, and mode of transmission. So plant diseases, citrus canker, which is by bacteria, and mode of transmission is air. Rust of wheat, fungi, air and seed. Yellow vein, mosaic of bhindi or okra, it's caused by virus. So citrus canker is by bacteria. Rust of wheat is by fungi. Yellow vein is by virus. Food poisoning. Bojo was invited by his friend to a party and he ate a variety of food stuff. On reaching home, he started vomiting and had to be taken to the hospital. The doctor said that this condition could be due to the food poisoning. Food poisoning could be due to the consumption of food spoiled by some microorganisms. Microorganisms that grow on our food sometimes produce toxic substances. These make the food poisonous, causing the serious illness and even death. So it is very important that we preserve food to prevent it from being spoiled. In chapter 1, we have learned about the methods used to preserve and store food grains. How do we preserve cooked food at home? You know that the bread left unused under the moist condition is attacked by the fungus. Microbes spoil our food. Spoiled food emits bad smell and had a bad taste and change color. Is spoiling of the food a chemical reaction? Pahli bought some mangoes, but some could not be eaten. She could not eat them for a few days. Later, she found that they were spoiled and rotten, but she knows that the mango pickle her grandmother makes does not spoil for a long time. She is confused. Let us study the common methods of preserving food in our homes. We have to save it from the attack of microorganisms. Chemical method. Salts and edible oils are common chemicals generally used to check the growth of microorganisms. Therefore, they are called preservatives. We add salt or acid preservatives to the pickles to prevent the attack of microbes. Sodium benzoate and sodium metabisulfate are common preservatives. These are also used in jams, squashes to check their spoilage. Prevention by common salt. Common salt have been used to preserve meat and fish for ages. Meat and fish are covered with dry salt to check the growth of bacteria. Salting is also used to preserve amla, raw mangoes, tamarind, etc. Preservation by sugar. Jams, jellies, squashes are preserved by sugar. Sugar reduces the moisture content which inhibits the growth of bacteria which spoil food. Preservation by oil and vinegar. Use of oil and vinegar prevents the spoilage of pickles because bacteria cannot live in such an environment. Vegetables, fruits, fish, meat are often preserved by this method. Hot and cold treatments. You must have observed your mother boiling milk before is stored or used. Boiling kills many microorganisms. Pasteurized milk can be consumed without boiling as it is free from harmful microbes. The milk is heated to about 17 degrees for 15 to 30 seconds and then suddenly chilled and stored. By doing so, it prevents the growth of microbes, and this process was discovered by Louis Pasteur and it is called pasteurization. Storage and packing. These days, dry fruits and even vegetables are sold in sealed airtight packets to prevent the attack of microbes. Nitrogen fixation. You have learnt about the bacterium Rhizobium in class 6th and 7th. It is involved in the fixation of nitrogen in leguminous plants and pulses. Recall that Rhizobium lives in the root nodules of leguminous plants such as beans and peas, with which it has a symbiotic relationship. Sometimes nitrogen gets fixed through the action of lightning, but you know that the amount of nitrogen in the atmosphere remains constant. You may wonder how. Let us understand this in the next section. Nitrogen cycle. Our atmosphere has 78% nitrogen gas. Nitrogen is one of the essential constituents of all the living organisms as part of proteins, chlorophylls, nucleic acids, and vitamins. The nitrogen cannot be taken directly by the plants and animals. Certain bacteria and blue-green algae present in the soil fix nitrogen from the atmosphere and convert it into the compounds of nitrogen. Once nitrogen is converted into these usable compounds, it can be utilized by plants from the soil through their roots system. Nitrogen is then used for the synthesis of plant proteins and other compounds. Animals feeding on plants get these proteins and other nitrogen compounds. When plants and animals die, bacteria and fungi present in the soil convert the nitrogenous waste into the nitrogenous compound to be used by the plants again. Certain other bacteria convert some part of them to nitrogen gas, which goes back into the atmosphere. As a result, the percentage of nitrogen in the atmosphere remains constant. Nitrogen fixing bacteria turn. This is a cycle. What happens? Nitrogen, lightning happens, then compounds of nitrogen in soil. Bacteria turn the compounds of nitrogen into gaseous nitrogen. Sometimes compounds of nitrogen in the soil uptaken by plants. Animals eat plants and nitrogenous waste from their excretion and death. Nitrogen fixing bacteria in the atmosphere fix atmospheric nitrogen. Bacteria in turn fix nitrogen into nitrogenous compounds, and the compounds of nitrogen is then used for. So that's it for this chapter. Then we have some points, which is microorganisms are too small and are not visible to the unaided eye. I will go a little bit slow because I was very fast. You can just slow down the speed from the setting. Okay, so alright, second point is they can live in all kinds of environment, ranging from ice cold climates to the hot spring or deserts to marshy lands. And microorganisms are found in air, water, and in the bodies of plants and animals. They may be unicellular or multicellular. Microorganisms include bacteria, fungi, protozoa, and some algae. Viruses, though are different from the above mentioned living organisms, are considered microbes. Viruses are quite different from other microorganisms. They reproduce only inside the host organism, bacterium, plant, or animal cell. Some microorganisms are useful for commercial production of medicines and alcohol. Some microorganisms decompose organic waste and dead plants and animals into simple substances, clean up the environment. Protozoans cause serious disease like dysentery and malaria. Some of the microorganisms grow on our food and cause food poisoning. Some microorganisms reside in the root nodules of leguminous plants. They can fix nitrogen from air into soil and increase the soil fertility. Then some bacteria present in the soil fix nitrogen from the atmosphere and convert into nitrogenous compounds. Certain bacteria convert compounds of nitrogen present in the soil into nitrogen gas, which is released to the atmosphere. That's all. Please like, share and subscribe. Thank you.